something about it, we will have no alternative but to engage in broader and more drastic forms of civil disobedience in order to bring...
Tonight we celebrate what would have been Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s 89th birthday. It's been a day filled with prayers, marches, and acts of service as the nation pays tribute to the civil rights leader and his fight for equality. It's a message that resonates particularly here in Atlanta, his hometown, which became the epicenter for the civil rights movement. Even decades later, the issue of race still dominates headlines here in 2018. You've seen them all, proving that the nation and our community still have a ways to go. Tonight, an unlikely friendship between a former KKK leader turned reformed racist and a black man. It's all helping lead a discussion at the King Center. Natisha Lance joins us live from there. Hey, Natisha.
Hey, Vinny. Well, you wouldn't know it now, but earlier this evening, the King Center was filled with people who were celebrating what would have been Dr. King's 89th birthday. It was a day of service, also a day filled with lots of conversations, as you just mentioned. Many of those about how close we are to fulfilling Dr. King's dream and also how far away we are from fulfilling that dream, and particularly when it comes to the racial divide. Now, there was at the center of that conversation, there was a former Ku Klux Klan leader who has formed an unlikely friendship with a black man, and they say that they are proving that there is a bridge that can be built for the racial divide and that it is entirely possible.
And how can you hate somebody when you don't even know them?
That question is what led Daryl Davis into the domain of Ku Klux Klan members around the country. For the past 30 years, he says he's befriended and convinced Klansmen to give up their uniforms.
It's a Klan robe.
This, he says, is just one of at least 200 robes he's collected over the years. Eventually, he plans to put them into a museum to preserve history. It's a history Scott Shepard would like to forget.
It puts a sickening feeling, really, in the pit of my stomach that I was ever part of that.
Shepard was an active member of the Klan and other white supremacy groups for over 20 years.
Life nearly destroyed me. I mean, physically and literally almost died over it.
It took 2 stints in rehab for alcohol before Shepard reached out to Davis through email, saying he'd heard about his work. Quickly, an unlikely bond formed.
And he told me, he says, I'm your brother and I'm always here for you. And he has been.
Shepard also made amends with the woman who raised him, a black woman. He calls her Becky. She turns 103 today.
She hugged my neck and she told me, she says, I knew you'd always come back home. And I knew I was home.
Davis and Shepard shared their story of what they call a brotherhood tonight as part of the King celebration and a conversation about bridging the racial divide. Davis says it can be done. It just takes one thing.
Humanity. Humanity.
And Benny, that is something that we are hearing a lot more about, and we're going to continue to hear much more about that over the year, especially leading up until April. That is when we will commemorate the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's assassination. And from folks I was speaking to here tonight, they say that they are hoping that Dr. King's message being on the hearts and minds of people throughout this year will hopefully make a difference when it comes to race relations and also the political climate that is going on in the country right now.
Yeah, amazing story, Natisha. You talk about having hope tonight, having a former KKK member doing what he was doing tonight at the King Center with this other gentleman. Unbelievable stuff. Thanks so much. You know.